Well, it's usually hurricanes that threaten to shut down Gulf Coast power plants this time of year. But now it might be the oil spill that's presenting a bigger threat. Mary Thompson joins us from Florida's Gulf Coast, in fact, from the Chris plant in Pensacola, with more. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning to you, Joe. You know, the problem for plants like this one is fairly simple. When it comes to their cooling systems, oil and water don't mix.
14 miles from the Gulf of Mexico isn't far enough for Gulf Power's Chris plant.
We are preparing for oil to ultimately reach the Escambia River.
Linked to the Gulf, the Escambia feeds the intake canal with water Chris uses to cool its plant. So booms are in place to block any surface oil that might get upriver. Chris is a coal-fired utility. The water makes steam, which turns the turbines to make electricity.
What, though, actually happens if the oil gets in the water and it's taken into the plant?
It can actually damage the cooling towers, and it could ultimately cause one of our plants to go offline.
Gulf Power's Sandy Sims says the plant's distance from the Gulf makes that unlikely. However, others are more vulnerable.
From western Louisiana all the way east through Florida, the North American Reliability Corporation says there are 14 units that draw water directly from the Gulf.
We began to take note of the spill about a week after the incident occurred.
Progress has boomed intake canals at 4 of its facilities on Florida's west coast. Skimmers are standing by. It's a plan CEO Vincent Dolan sees preventing plant shutdowns. A worst-case scenario he still doesn't expect will impact his clients.
I think we would have sufficient reserve capacity in the state where we would transfer power with other utilities.
As they brace for the worst, both Progress and Chris are keeping tabs on costs, planning to tap BP's $20 billion fund.
Our plan would be to attempt to access that money before we have to place that burden on our customers.
Now, it's not just oil in the waters that these facilities are worried about. They're also worried about oil on the vessels that deliver the fuel to power these plants. Oil, or I should say fuel actually, like the coal that you see behind me that is barged in over the waterways. Coming up on the second hour of Squawk on the Street, I'm going to have more on what the Coast Guard is doing to keep those vessels clean and what utilities like the Chris plant here is doing to make sure they have enough coal in place to last through any delays that might happen because of the spill. Back to you.
That's really interesting, actually, Mary. We look forward to that next report. I was wondering now, when you were talking to the lady that had the hat on and the glasses on, normally a reporter would take, what's that called when they take a shot of someone?
Reaction shot.
A reaction shot. And I assume you had to wear, you were wearing the helmet and the glasses. I think Mary Thompson would have, or Ann. I think Ann. Yeah, I get the Thompson twins mixed up.
You're referring to my sister.
I think Ann, who is down in the area, is she not? Have you run into her?
No, she's west of here. She's in Louisiana.
She's in Louisiana, but down in the Gulf.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Couple of states across. And Joe, actually, I think there is a shot of me in a hard hat and some glasses.
Not face on. I saw it, but it was from not face on. It was walking.
Right after that, she was walking.
No, but the reaction shot would have been, and I think that you buried that. That you didn't.
I mean, where she nods and
nods in. Yeah, and says, "Oh my."
There it is.
See, we can't see you there.
Yes, we can.
That's from behind. All right,
I tell you what, I'll wear it.
Wait, there's another shot where she is walking. Yeah, there's another shot where she is walking, and you see the front of it too.
I just think that Ann, who is more experienced and has younger or.
Mary, I was going to ask you. See, there she is. She did do it.
Yeah.
Mary, I was going to ask you
from a distance.
You mentioned this in your report, but the idea that they're having trouble with the ships that have to get there with the fuel as well. Yesterday, we talked to a shipping analyst who said, just like the cooling towers, how this will mess up everything. The ships have to go around too because they can't soil their hulls. Yeah. I guess this is a huge problem, and they're really starting to try and figure this all out right now.
That's exactly what my report is going to be on. Coming up in Squawk on the Street. The Coast Guard has set up a number of cleaning stations offshore of the 5 deepwater ports here around the Gulf Coast because they don't want these ships to go through the spill. Although, as you said, most of them are going around the spill. That could be a greater problem, though, as the spill starts to spread. So there are what they call these gross decon stations off the ports to help clean the ships to make sure they don't come in and contaminate clean water along the coast.
All right.
I don't know
and
why.
I'll have more on that again coming up on Squawk on the Street.
We're going to
want to watch that.
We're going to watch. We're going to watch.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm being nice to Ann. She's been terrible to me recently when I've tossed to her. But I don't know. It's tough to pick, you know. But anyway, thank you, Mary.